Welcome back, Gale Force, and thank you for attending my presentation about Tiki, a unit from all of the Arcanea games as well as Awakening, and today we'll be talking about how she plays in Shadow Dragon, New Mystery of the Emblem, and Awakening. First, let's talk about her traits in Shadow Dragon. In Shadow Dragon, Tiki doesn't join you until Chapter 19 by speaking to her with Bantu. She has very good growths in everything barring her defense and resistance, which are 20% and a pitiful 2% respectively. She's one of two units in the game that are capable of using the Divine Stone, who are meant to be mutually exclusive to one another, but, due to an oversight, aren't. Between the two, Tiki is the weaker option, but is by no means useless. Tiki possesses some very useful traits thanks to her ability to use the Divine Stone. The Divine Stone allows her to deal effective damage against all dragon type enemies, meaning she can always be useful for clearing out said dragons despite her otherwise low stats. Even at base level, the Divine Stone is strong enough to allow Tiki to 2-hit KO Medius. Tiki's biggest issue on Shadow Dragon is simply being inferior to Nagi on higher difficulties, who comes at the cost of letting Tiki die. That being said, using the Staff can allow a player to use both at the same time, effectively allowing Tiki to contribute alongside Nagi. In New Mystery, Tiki is statistically very similar to how she was in Shadow Dragon. She was recruited modestly earlier in Chapter 14 this time around. Unfortunately, Tiki was met with a lot of issues in the transition from Shadow Dragon to New Mystery. For starters, Tiki's Divine Stone is no longer super effective against Medius, removing that niche from her arsenal. Moreover, Tiki's Divine Stone will now lose a use with every round of combat. Tiki also no longer gains additional movement or flight upon using the stone, which makes her feel very restrictive to use. With all of these issues combined, Tiki will struggle to find any meaningful use in your army in New Mystery. In Awakening, Tiki is recruited at the end of Paralog 17, provided that she survives the chapter. The map becomes unlocked once Chapter 18 is completed, making her a fairly late joiner. Tiki has very solid growths across the board, and her reclass options are the Mage and Wyvern Rider class lines, which are the same reclass options as Noe. Tiki, despite being a late joiner, is a fairly solid unit in Awakening once acquired. She acts fairly similarly to a well raised Noe, though there isn't much to say about her beyond that. She's simply a consistent, late game unit in this game. In conclusion, Tiki has been all over the place in terms of unit quality over the course of the series, but usually fulfills a niche. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell if you'd like to get notified when I post a new video. Special thank you to patrons 60 Sweep, Gorilla Danny, and Bosnia for subscribing at the Paladin tier, and Caius Griffin for subscribing at the Great Lord tier. And also, to YouTube members Jerry for joining at the Paladin tier, and Caius Griffin who again joined at the Great Lord tier. I'd really appreciate if you checked out the links in the description if you can, but otherwise, have a great rest of your day.